刻になりました。伊藤園大井お茶杯第67期王位戦7番勝負第2局挑戦者伊藤二冠の先手でお願いします。
お願いします。
Game 2 of the 67th Oui Best-of-Seven Series, where Takumi Ito challenges his same-age rival and the absolute champion of the Shogi world, Sota Fujii, took place at Nakanobo Zuyen, a traditional Japanese restaurant in Kobe City, Hyogo Prefecture. Fujii, who currently holds 6 of the 8 major titles, is fighting to secure his 7th consecutive OI title. Meanwhile, if Ito captures this title, he will claim his 3rd crown and could potentially bring an end to Fujii's era of absolute dominance. This is a critical series that will shape the future of the Shogi world. Game 1 delivered an unexpected upset, with the defending champion Fujii losing despite having the advantageous first move. This second game kicked off with Ito taking the first move. The opening developed into the Eigakari, or double wing attack. It is an opening where both players keep their bishop diagonals closed and exchange pawns in front of their rooks. This often leads to a rikisen, an unorthodox game devoid of standard theoretical lines. This might be the perfect way for these two players to settle the score, as both rely on deep calculation as their greatest weapon. On the 28th move, Fujii initiated an attack with pawn to 1-5. It is an aggressive play that clearly conveys his strong fighting spirit. On the 38th move, Fujii dropped a pawn behind his opponent's pawn. His strategy was to lure out Ito's lance and then drop a pawn on 1-8. If Ito were to capture it with his rook, Fujii could shift his own rook to the second file to take control and advance the game favorably. On the 41st move, Ito chose not to capture the pawn and instead created an escape route for his knight. He made the judgment that allowing Fujii to make a token, or promoted pawn, was acceptable. Fujii successfully created the token, but the key moving forward will be how he manages to utilize it from the very corner of the board. On the 44th move, Fujii opted for a bishop exchange. From this point on, a tense battle unfolds, with both players holding powerful bishops in hand. On the 51st move, Ito immediately dropped a bishop to the center at 5-5. In Shogi, the center of the board is called Miyako, meaning the capital, and it is the absolute best spot to maximize a bishop's potential. Fujii immediately countered with a bishop drop of his own, leading to a flashy and dynamic sequence where the major pieces, the rooks and bishops, moved at a dizzying pace. On the 56th move, Fujii dropped a bishop deep into enemy territory at 4-9, and the situation on the board instantly became fierce. What surprised everyone was Ito's 63rd move. He willingly chose to exchange knights. By allowing his knight to be taken, he opened himself up to a fundoshi no keima, a knight fork with a check on 7-6. He went strongly on the offensive, fully prepared to take that risk. By the way, A fundoshi is a traditional Japanese men's undergarment, and the shape of this fork looks a bit like this. With his 68th move, Fujii promoted his bishop to a dragon horse at the 1-7 square. This move promises to be highly effective for both offense and defense. Ito deliberated for 34 minutes in this position before sealing his next move as the time limit for the first day was reached.
ではお預かりいたします。封じ手は3三歩です。対局を再開します。
Ito's sealed move, once revealed, was pawn to 3-3. This was a choice that observers had also anticipated. On the 71st move, Ito aimed at Fujii's defending silver with a knight drop to 8-4. This move was intended to set up a pincer attack on the enemy king. On the 74th move, Fujii launched a fierce attack, pressing his horse against Ito's rook. Under immense pressure, Ito thought for 91 minutes before retreating his rook all the way to the back rank. With his 77th move, knight to 7-7, Ito attempted to counterattack while simultaneously creating an escape route for his own king. However, Fujii's relentless onslaught could not be stopped. Fujii's 88th move, dropping a rook to 3-9, created a tsumero. If left unanswered, this move would lead inevitably to Ito's king being checkmated. On the 97th move, Ito dropped a silver to deliver a check. Although he already realized he was going to lose, it is a tradition in shogi to play out a few more moves to leave behind a beautiful and honorable game record. This practice is known as katachi-zukuri, or shape-making. Ito ultimately resigned without playing a 101st move. He had no ways left to corner Fujii's king, while his own king was caught in a hishi, an inescapable threat where checkmate cannot be avoided no matter what defense is attempted. He had completely run out of options. After the game, both players shared their reflections on the match. Fujii reflected on the game, saying, "I initiated the attack because I wanted to try a strategy of moving from the edge, but it turned into a difficult game to maintain balance. Around the time of the sealed move, My opponent had many attacking combinations, such as dropping pawns to 3-3 and 2-4, 7-3, dropping knight to 8-4, so I wasn't confident if I could hold my ground. I felt I had gained a slight advantage around the move lance to 7-4. Ito reflected, saying, "The mutual attack on the edge was a sequence I had considered before, but evaluating the overall position was difficult. The position around the sealed move was worse for me than I had anticipated. At the point of knight to 4-5, I should have delved deeper into the line, playing gold to 4-8. I missed my opponent's bishop to 3-5. My moves on the first day were careless." In Game 2, Fujii secured a brilliant victory despite playing the disadvantageous second move, evening the series at 1 win apiece. This series is turning into a thrilling showdown worthy of the highest level of competition. Game 3 will be held at the Noboribetsu Grand Hotel in Noboribetsu City, Hokkaido.